You all, we are going to bring to the virtual cafe none other than my guest sippers on tonight. She is a life and relationship strategist, and she has been doing this for over 20 years. So you are about to get some great mindset tips and strategy to help you with your life and relationships. So coffee mugs raised, and let's sip to my guest on tonight, none other than life and relationship strategist, Jamila McMallow. Hello.
Hey, yep, it's Jamila. I'm in the house.
Yes. So shall we get into this delicious conversation on tonight?
Sure. The fact is, Shantae, is I'm going to be dropping some very hard truths and saying some things that a lot of women may not want to hear. Okay. But the only question they need to ask themselves, the only question you need to ask yourself as the viewer who's watching this is, do you want to continue to have the same results or do you want to grow? First off, let's debunk this belief that a good man is the solution to all of your relationship and emotional problems. Okay. We've been conditioned as women to believe in the idea of Prince Charming coming to save us from the villain, right? He's going to swoop in and he's just going to save the day. Okay. So then what happens when we're the villain? When we're our own worst enemy? When we're the ones that is causing all the problem and drama in our lives? Then what? What is he supposed to do if we are our own biggest problem, right? So no man, no good man can save us from ourselves. Okay, it's an inside job. There's not a human being outside of you that's going to be able to get in your brain and change the things that are going on in there. This is an inside job. This is work that you have to do. And we're going to talk about that. The unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of women who think or believe that the right man is going to help them get right, or that finding the right man, that's the answer to all my relationship struggles. I wouldn't be having all these problems if I just could find the right man. And that's just false.
In your expertise and in your field of genius and in working with your clients, what constitutes or what qualifies a man to be a good man?
Ooh, excellent question. So this really is an individual thing. And this is why it's so important that you not only need to do your healing work, which I said we're going to talk about, but you have to get to know who you are and who you really are. Okay. Because a good man for me may not be a good man for you, because what you desire and what you need is in a completely different space. So the key to knowing what a good man is you have to get to know you first, because here's the thing. A good man isn't someone who's better than your ex. Your ex ain't got nothing to do with the next man, the good man that's going to come into your life. Your exes are not your gauge for how you size up the next man. Well, he's better than him on this. That's not how you do it. You get to know you. What are your good qualities, characteristics, and then what qualities and characteristics does a man need to possess? Okay, what is his way of being? What about him would bring out the best in you? How does he have to be to bring out the best in you so that you're able to stay in that state? A lot of us in my past, not now, my good husband is amazing, okay, because I did my work and I got a healthy, happy relationship, which you can have too. But what happens is a lot of us are in these relationships where we're in emotional combat, meaning when you're in combat, you don't have time to get to know yourself. You have your guard up, your wall up. You're always fighting and scrapping and dealing with drama and negativity. And you are behaving in a way that may not even be who you truly are. It may just be who you have to be to survive in that relationship. You may not be aggressive. You may actually be very sweet, but not when you're constantly having someone attacking you or backing you into a corner and making you constantly feel like you have to fight. Do you see what I'm saying? So you can't even look at the toxic or bad relationships that you've been in as a gauge for who you are, because that's not it. It's you getting totally clear on you. And then from there, you can determine the type of man that would be a good fit for who you are to help you stay as far as bringing out the best in you. Know, because some people are not compatible, right? They don't bring out the best in each other, but you don't know that unless you know who you are. The more you know who you are, the more you're going to know, woo, we really click, right? But what a lot of times and what's going on is you don't know who you are and you're thinking you're going to feel your way through. And it's like, nope, you've been feeling your way through all these problems that you've been having. And we just want to stop that. You go out there and what you're really doing is trying to fill in your gaps. You're looking for somebody to fill in your insecurities, your weaknesses, all that. And that's not how you find a good man.
I want you to touch briefly on scarcity, because this is like the root of where we are with all of this. Speak on the scarcity mindset, because in your club, I support your clubhouse rooms. Shameless plug, you all. Clubhouse High Power Healing Room. And you talk a lot about the scarcity mindset. Just touch on that a little bit about the scarcity mindset and how some of the dynamics that we have when we're desiring love, want to be in relationships, starts with that scarcity mindset.
So it's easier for me to explain this in terms of money because people can kind of understand that, and then we can relate it back to relationships. So a scarcity lack mentality when it comes to money means that you believe that money is hard to come by, that money is not in abundance, that money that you have to scrounge and scrape for, and then when you get it, you have to hold on to it. It's never enough. It's never there. And you just have this negative, hateful relationship with money. Okay. So your scarcity mindset around love and relationships can be the same way that you just have this negative thing about being in a relationship. It's always drama. It's always this. And you just don't actually believe that there is an abundance of opportunities and possibilities for me to enjoy in a relationship with a man. That, you don't have that view of it, that it's wide open, that it's positive, that it's enjoyable, that it's something to look forward to, that is, wow, it's available for me. It's possible for me. A lot of women stay in relationships that have had deal break after deal break after deal break, which, that was my past story, because they think that they're not going to find anybody else, that there's nobody else that's going to put up with them. You almost feel like it's easier just to stay because, oh my goodness, there's so much work in getting to know somebody else or whatever the case is. But it's all negative around relationships. And so that's all a scarcity lack mentality is it's a negative view of something, because if something is lacking all the time and you have to scrape and scrounge for it, and then you still don't get what you want, how are you going to feel about it? Are you going to feel like, oh, I love being in love? And then if that's where you're really coming from, what kind of men are you attracting? And like I said, on top of your belief system, on top of everything else. So yes, that scarcity lack mentality doesn't just play out when it comes to money. It absolutely can play out when it comes to men, because you can believe that it's just not possible for you to have a happy, healthy relationship with a good man for any number of reasons. I'm too old. I have too many kids. I need to lose weight. I make too much money and they're intimidated by me. Please, all of that stuff. That's your scarcity lack mentality when it comes to relationships. My next point is, and this is the one that's probably going to, hurt some feelings, but you need to hear this. There is only one common denominator in all of your relationships. Okay. And I'm not telling you anything that you haven't heard before or you didn't already know, and it's you. Okay. So if you have a habit or a history or a pattern of being in toxic, drama-filled relationships, that's because there is something happening on a subconscious level that you're not aware of. There's some trait or quality about these men that you're actually attracted to. There's some familiarity about them that you're actually drawn to. And this can be a situation, maybe you grew up in a home and your father was abusive towards your mother, or he was very domineering. And so that's what you're used to, seeing in a relationship like that. Or maybe he wasn't around at all. And so your view and your construct of men, even women in relationships, all of that, has been formed. And so what can happen is you may develop some beliefs, or you may have some beliefs like all men are liars, all men are unreliable, or men leave. or even ones about yourself, like I'm unlovable, or nobody wants me, or other people's feelings are more important than mine. Those beliefs were formed when you were little. And so the fact of the matter is those beliefs are what are actually playing out when you're going out and trying to attract someone, because you now on a surface conscious level, you'll be like, I don't want nobody that's going to lead me. I don't want anybody that's, a liar. I don't want any of that. But that's your belief system. That's the construct. Maybe you saw your mother deal with a bunch of boyfriends or a husband who was a cheater and he was a liar. So what do you say? You can't trust men. They're all liars. That was your belief that you formed. So then you grow up and you go out in the world, and guess what your mind does? It likes to prove you right. So you look at all your relationships and you're like, man, all men are liars and all men are no, they're not. Just the ones that you're attracted to are, because you don't even know that on a subconscious level, that's what you're telling yourself. And so whatever you believe to be true for you, it is, if that makes any sense. So the vibe that they're putting out, whatever that little thing is on that subconscious level that they have that speaks into them being that type of deceitful guy, you're drawn to that because it's familiar. It's what you know. It's what you believe to be true. And your mind is like, okay, well, that's the truth. So let's go get it so she can be right. So do you see how it's all happening on this deeper level? So that's what's really going on. And so a good man can't change that. No different than your computer, right? You have programs that run in the background on your computer that tell it what to do. Some person who just has no computer experience, is not an expert, just comes in on your computer, they can push the space bar, okay? They might type some stuff in a Word document, but they don't even know what field to open up. They don't know the admin password, and they certainly don't know the code to put in to reprogram your computer to do something different. So no good man outside of you is going to be able to get into your brain, into your head, and help you rewrite this stuff that predates him. Doesn't have anything to do with him. It's your stuff. It's your stuff. And here's the thing, because you have those bad relationships, they have confirmed your beliefs, the things that you believe to be true about men, because again, you've attracted it in. Here's a liar. Here's another one who's a liar. So you just keep getting proved right over and over, essentially. And so it's really entrenched. So a good man coming along and being honest and being full of integrity is not going to change that construct. He's not. In fact, he's going to spend all his time dealing with your drama of you making him responsible for your feelings and him having to constantly prove himself because of your belief system. And eventually that relationship's not going to work out because he's going to get tired of that. And it's not his job to do your work. You have to do that. Okay. And the beautiful thing is when you do, then you can stop attracting, the liars and the cheaters and the abusers and all those things, because you're just going to be on a totally different level and place. You're going to have different programs, or different beliefs running in your mindset, running in your mind that are dictating, who you're attracting and who you're drawing.
Yep. Let me speak real quick to the divorcees, because you talked about the data bank, because I often say, you brought up the point about the computer, you have all this back data. And even though you may clear your browsing data, it's still in the storage. So speak to those who are divorcees and perhaps they found love again, because you have.
Yes.
Divorcee, I'm divorcee. We found love again. Just kind of shed light on how that was rewriting your script to embrace new love the aligned way.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, when I went through my divorce, I was married for 14 years. And thankfully, there were no children. I know that unfortunately some people, that complicates things, but I didn't have that. So I'll say that. So after I went through my divorce, I was like, I really felt like the rug had got pulled out from under me. And I was like, what in the world? And I had to acknowledge some things. I had to acknowledge, first of all, that I had spent the bulk of my emotional energy focusing on him and trying to help him, trying to support him, trying to just focused on him and what he was doing. And I thought to myself, man, where would I be if I had spent all that energy on myself, And then I had to acknowledge that, sure, maybe I didn't do anything that was a deal breaker, but I wasn't a perfect wife. So what qualities and characteristics do I need to change about myself? You got to get real with you. You can't just say, oh, and mind you, maybe he was the deal breaker. Maybe his behavior, his conduct was deal breaking, but the relationship probably wasn't sunshine and roses. And then all of a sudden it just ended. That's usually not how it goes. And so I knew there were some things that I needed to work on and that I needed to change if I wanted to be able to function in a happy, healthy relationship. Because here's the thing, if you've never seen a happy, healthy relationship, if you've never been in a happy, healthy relationship, well, guess what? You don't know what one looks like, and you don't know how to behave in one. Yeah. So even if he's healthy and happy and a good man, you're going to be like, I don't even know how to drive this car. It's a stick shift, whatever, and I only do automatic. So you have to learn, you have to change. What I did was I focused on myself. I strategically did it. And this is actually where the process was birthed that I take my clients through, and what I have from the time that I started, my practice focusing on this area. Like you mentioned, I do have 20 years coaching and mentoring experience in a variety of professional settings. But when I focused down on this, really that divorce was the birthplace of this process. Okay. And so the first thing I did was I said, I got to get some clarity about, how men think, what am I missing? So I did that. And then I had to focus on myself and really figure out, okay, what do I need to change and work on to be a better me? Not to get a man, but just to acknowledge the fact that, hey, when you're in a relationship that's challenging, your growth gets stunted. You can still be progressing, but you're not going to have that trajectory like when you're alone. So I use my alone time very wisely. Awesome. And again, I didn't have children, so I didn't have any distractions. Okay. I didn't have anything, getting in the mix. So for the divorcees out there, that's where you want to put your work. I'm going to give you this warning. It is very easy when you're hurting to want a soft place to fall. And a man listening to your problems, telling you you're pretty, trying to, making you feel good is what I like to call an emotional crutch. And really what he's doing is he's in the way and he's holding up your progress. Okay. Because you have to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet alone, get good with you, become healed and whole. Then you can move forward. Once again, a man is not going to take you from the previous man and be the next. That's not how it works. You have to do that. Again, Prince Charming, oh, he's going to swoop in and save me. My ex left me so sad and now he's making me so happy. No, you have to do that for yourself first. That's your work. He's just there to make you feel good, but he hasn't changed anything about who you are. Not a thing. And so, that's what needs to happen. I'm a Christian. I read the Bible. That's my moral and compass and things like that. And so when you get married, you become one flesh. So even if the marriage was bad, when you ripped it apart, it's like ripping one person in half. So even if you needed to get out of that relationship or whatever, it still hurt. You're hurting. Yeah. And so the process is a healing process, right? And sometimes where some women can get stuck is in that anger and bitterness phase. That's the phase where you're like, well, I don't need no man. I'm fine. I got peace. I got my own finances. Nobody's causing me any drama. I'm good. Honey, that is not. No, you're not. No, you're not good. You're not good. You got to keep going. You done got this far in your healing and you sat down and pulled out your mug and started sipping. Put the mug down and keep going. You have to get past that, okay? Because whether or not you choose to be in another relationship has to be based upon you making a choice from, I like being, alone. I'm enjoying myself, not because I'm never getting married again. I don't want nobody controlling me, and I don't. No, no. You're stuck. You're stuck in bitterness and anger. And so my advice for the divorcees is keep healing. Keep healing, because what you cannot have is a negative view of the arrangement of marriage.
That's right.
Like I said, maybe he was the deal breaker. Maybe his behavior ended the marriage. Got that. But you got to own the fact that you chose to be with this man. And it could be like me, just young and stupid, whatever. But, it doesn't matter. You still have to own it. It was your choice. It was your decision. And there were red flags that you missed. There are always red flags. And like I said, sometimes we're too young to recognize them, but sometimes we're just too in love to listen when we get the warnings. I was warned, and I didn't listen. There's so much you don't get when you're that young, but it doesn't matter. I had to own that. So you got to own that. You got to own that it's not marriage. No, it's you chose the wrong man based upon your internal beliefs, your trauma, your pain, your experiences. For whatever reason, you didn't choose someone that was the right person for you. And it could be that you just weren't mature enough to be able to make that decision at the time. So keep doing your healing, get past that anger and bitterness stage, learn, get to know yourself better, and grow. Become a better version of yourself. And then you don't have to worry about, because like I said, when you become a better version of yourself and you get to know you, right? You get to know who you are and who you are when you're at your best. And who brings that best out? What are the qualities and characteristics and traits that a person would have to have in dealing with you to where you're at your best? Most of not all the time.
Yes.
Okay, that's where you want to come from. But you can't do that if you're still thinking about, oh, my ex did this, so all I got to find is somebody that's doing the opposite. No, honey, the bar is low. It doesn't have anything to do with your ex. This is you getting to know you. Because remember, when you chose him, you didn't know all this. So now you've got, like Shantae said, the data, right? Now you've got the healing. Now you're whole. Now you're on a whole nother level, whole nother vibe. Who you're about to attract you're in two different categories, okay? And let me tell you something. If you've started dating and you're finding that you're still having challenges, your results will reveal to you the depth and degree of the healing work that you have done and how much further you need to go. Please don't think that you're just going to do it and you're like, I'm all done, I'm good. It is a continual journey, because we're like onions. You peel back one layer, and when you move through that, you want to expand, you'll hit the new limit, and you have to grow through that. So you're always growing, you're always expanding. So if you find that, because this is what I love when women say, oh, I did that, I did this, but this still, I married it. Okay, well, guess what? How long did you do it for? And did you keep doing it? Because I'm looking at the relationship you're in now, and you're telling me all these things, and you're telling me you did your work, and I'm going, well, you didn't do it with me, or I don't know what you did, but I can tell you by your results that you still got some work to do. So go back to work. Go back to doing your healing work. Don't ever view it as I'm good and I'm done. Look at your results. You may not be done. You may not be good. And even if you are, like, I have a wonderful husband, I remember when we first got married, I would, at night, I would just pray tears of gratitude, for him, because he's so amazing. And we've been married, it'll be like 8 years in the fall. And so even though I did have that wonderful relationship, I myself have not stopped working on myself. I have not stopped growing and doing my work, because it's constant. It's just a constant thing. It may not be on the same areas, but it's always going on. Whatever you believe to be true is true for you. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you this little story. I had a friend years ago, and this is when I was married to my ex. I remember her saying to me, oh, there's so many really good, single women, and they want to be married, but they, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at her and I said, okay. I said, but guess what? If something happens to my husband, I was like, yeah, I'll be remarried. And I just said it, and I felt it. That's just what I believed to be. That was my belief. There was no alternative construct for me to where I was just going to be doing my thing alone. Now, once I went through my divorce, and I wasn't thinking about that story at the time. This is something that actually I thought of recently. But when I went through my divorce, and I did enjoy that peace and work and having that space to work on myself. But eventually I came to realize that I didn't want to be alone, that I didn't find any sense of pride or enjoyment in being able to do everything by myself. Who cares? I don't want to carry my groceries, I don't want to pump my gas. I don't want to do, and I'm not saying that's just what your husband or man is for, but hello, when you have a partner, you each are doing different things, and that makes life easier because you have someone, he's doing that, I'm doing this, I'm not doing it all. I'm like, you get to, like, I'll say this, my ex used to wash the dishes, and then it's funny, my husband now, he washes the dishes. But when I was single, I would cook, and the dishes would sit there, and I'd be like, I'm going to start eating out. So I was eating out every day because I don't want to do the dishes. Little things like that that sound silly and stupid. But the truth is when you have a partner, when you have a mate, when you have a husband, and you guys are living together, you each have your little things that you do for each other that make the family, that make the household run smoother. And I like that. I enjoyed that. And so that's the realization that I came to, that I did not want to be alone, that's not for me. Now I'm going to tell you what I wasn't. I was not desperate. Like I said, I did my work. So I didn't have that sense of like urgency, like, oh no, it just so happens because again, like I told you, I'm a believer in Jehovah God and I pray to him every day about it. And here's the thing about a blessing, you have to be ready to receive it. See, I got ready. And so when it showed up, it was like, whoo, that was a little faster than I expected. But until you feel moved and a desire to have a husband, to have a mate, to be in a new relationship, then you can explore that and you can prepare for it by getting familiar with what it's like to, because maybe you did your work on yourself, but maybe you haven't learned what it takes to be in a happy, healthy relationship with a good man. A book that was very pivotal for me during that time is a book called Codependent No More by Melody Beatty. Now, the title is kind of misleading because like I'm not a child of parents who had any sort of addictions. The only thing that I could find that was kind of relatable was, my ex had a habit of making bad decisions. But the book, that codependency, that way of being in relationships, as I read the book, I was like, yikes, And so I learned that I was really, when I was with my ex, making the relationship harder for me than it had to be. But I didn't know that those were the behaviors that I was doing. And so when you're ready to proceed into a new relationship, make sure you do the work on learning how to be in a happy, healthy relationship. Okay, so then what can you do if you're a single woman or a married woman, right, who's managed to snag a good man and you're still struggling? Well, like I mentioned before, having the good man isn't going to change your construct, right? Your belief system still is what it is. And so what you're going to find yourself doing is being very uncomfortable in that relationship, right? You thought, oh, he's a good man, I'm going to be happy. And now you're still not happy. The reason is because the relationship and the situation feels foreign. It's not what's familiar to you. It's not what your belief system is telling you is true. It's going against that. And so what you have to do at this point, if you're realizing, okay, I'm married, I have a good man, and I'm still creating all this drama, I don't know why I'm still not settled, you're going to have to find someone to help you do your healing work, to help you get through this part of your journey, because you're going to need someone who's an expert coach like myself, or a therapist or a counselor if that's your thing. Whatever, you're going to need some help. You do not want to try to DIY this. It's not going to work because you can't see your blind spots. Okay. I help my clients do this all the time, identify, uncover, and then reprogram their beliefs around themselves, around men, marriage, relationships, etc. So the key really to having a healthy relationship with a man, the solution really to finding a good man, or you being okay in a relationship with a good man, is you have to do the work on yourself first. You have to have a happy, healthy relationship with you first. Okay? Because if you have a lot of negative feelings about yourself, if you are always beating yourself up in your head, if you have a lot of negative self-talk, if you're really hard on yourself, if you're like that with you, there's, again, nothing outside of you that's going to change that. So you have to be okay and healthy. Because listen, if that's how you treat you, what is your expectation for how someone outside of you treats you? Are you going to think that, oh, I deserve to be treated better? No, you could say that all day long, but how you treat yourself is how you're going to allow other people to treat you. Okay, so healthy relationship with you first, and then you can have a healthy, happy relationship with a good man. And like I said, you're going to need help to do this part of your journey. This is not something that you can do on your own, because if you could have, you'd been and done it already. Okay. You're not going to get this off YouTube. You're not going to get it from a free downloadable PDF. You're going to have to invest into your own development. And it's not something you're ever going to regret. When you invest in yourself and you change who you are and you grow and you remove these limiting beliefs don't just play out in your relationships with men. It's like they affect so many different things. So whenever you invest in yourself and you do the work, maybe you work with maybe you work with me on one particular issue, but it never is just that issue, right? It always expands in our work together. And when we're done, you now are approaching your life from a happy, healed, and whole place. And so your life actually goes in a different trajectory. So let's say you were going this way as the person you were, you're now a different person. So your life is going in a completely different direction. And so the lifetime value of that transformation, the person you have become, the opportunities, the relationships, the income, all of that you're going to have as a result of doing this work, that's how you determine the value or what it is that you're willing to invest in to your own transformation and healing.
This is getting good. Please, we will be remiss if you did not share with us how to connect with you further and what you got coming up. Go for it.
Absolutely. So what I have available for you right now, if you've really enjoyed this conversation, especially if you're a married woman and you're married to a good man and you find yourself still struggling and not really understanding why things aren't really flowing for you as you would like, I have a free webinar, Your Independence as a Woman versus Your Marriage. And the link is there. And you just click on there, register, and boom, you can watch it on demand at any time. And it really is a deeper dive into what's really going on and what you can do about it. Another way that you can reach out to me is you can visit my website, coachjamila.com, and you can learn more about the programs that I offer. And then you can also connect with me in my Facebook group, okay, High Powered Healing, so that we can stay connected. I post in there periodically. I go live periodically. And you can, we can comment and you can learn more there too.
Coach Jamila, give us a final sipping point as we bring this conversation to a close.
Well, I'm just going to repeat what I already said. And that is the first relationship and the only relationship that you need to work on when you're looking to have success in a relationship with a good man is the relationship that you have with yourself. And please don't be cheap or try to DIY your healing or your journey through addressing your underlying beliefs, et cetera, et cetera. Just heal yourself first. That is your work. That is your assignment. And then everything else flows from there.
Thank you so much tonight for sharing with us your worth, for sharing with us why a good man won't solve all of our problems. And so, legal listeners, it is my hope tonight that you have been empowered, you have been enriched, and that you have been elevated in your mindset on tonight as we are finding our abundance with our life and relationships. So till next time, everybody, this has been our time. Stay active, stay engaged, but also please be empowered to share with others. Till next time, good night.